Hi, everybody. This is Marv from Pods Like Us again, and one of these special shorter length episodes for International Podcasting Month. And this time, not much of a change here. I'm speaking to a co-host of mine on a couple of shows who he's going to mention now and talk about. My good friend Ed Chen. Hey, Ed.
Hey, Marv. So, yes, Marv is one of my co-hosts on the long-running podcast When They Was Fab. So, those of you who are Beatles people out there, to have a look for it. And we also host with another good friend of ours, Kit O'Toole, a show called Toppermost of the Poppermost, which looks at the American and British charts from 60 years ago. We call it a Beatles adjacent podcast because we discuss Beatles things and many more.
We do. So, are we 3 years into Toppermost of the Poppermost?
We are 3 years into Toppermost. We started Toppermost in October of 2022, 60 years after Love Me Do first entered the British charts. And you are just about the same amount of time on When There Was Fab, I believe.
Yes, I believe so, although I've guested on a few episodes before then. But when there was Fab is coming up to 10 years this year.
At the end of 2025, the show will have run for 10 years under two different names with, well, too many co-hosts to mention.
Yes.
But yes, I've been there for the entire run. Lonnie Pena has been there for most of the run. And then Marv has been there for almost 3 years, but he's guested all the way back to, 7 or 8 years ago. And in fact, that was the very first podcast you ever did.
It is. Yes. What was the subject again?
That was Music Hall.
Yes, I got the ukulele out for that one.
Yep. And so you're talking about George Harrison and his love of George Formby and a number of other things. Marv introducing our American listeners to the wonders of cheesy British music.
That's a good description, Ed. That's brilliant. So, anyway, what is the show that you've come on to discuss that you love to listen to, Ed?
So I gave Marv a bunch of options, and the one that I have chosen is a show called Endless Blummer. If you listen to Fab, you'll know that Lonnie and I like to talk about baseball as a sport.
Cool.
And I know Marv has spent many late evenings watching baseball himself over in the UK.
I have, yes, the time difference and that, but it's definitely fun. I really love baseball. So, what is this show then exactly?
So, Endless Blummer is a baseball show. It's hosted by two gentlemen, one named Jeff Blum and one named David Tuttle, both of whom were professional baseball players.
Yeah,
Jeff Blum made it to the majors, and he is actually currently the color commentator on television for the Houston Astros.
cool. I've seen him then.
You have indeed. So he also does some of the national broadcasts these days, particularly when they're on the streaming services.
Yep. The other host, what's his history?
So David Tuttle is one of Jeff Blum's oldest friends, and they spent time playing against each other throughout their college years, and he never actually made it to the major leagues, but he did make Team USA in the Olympic baseball team, and he made it all the way to AAA. So, that's certainly considered the major leagues.
What it sounds like to me then is that what makes this different to a lot of other baseball podcasts is their camaraderie and their friendship that would make the conversations less, so we say, professional and almost radio style, but more like a conversation between two friends.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, as they describe it on their show, they really learned about each other picking up their kids when both of them lived in California and they were in the car line waiting to pick up their kids at school.
Wow, that's cool. It's another show I need to add to my list.
So, yeah, Jeff Blum was a hitter, and he actually, a number of years back, was in the Astros home run contest.
Wow.
So you have a hitter and you have a pitcher. And so, they will certainly discuss both of their local teams, the Astros and then the San Francisco Giants. But then they will also talk. There's a phrase we use here in the States called inside baseball.
Which makes sense. I mean, because you've got a hitter and you've got a pitcher, so you've got the different sides to the team. So you'll have like the person talking about pitchers, and then you'll have the hitter talking about the different hitters, but they'll do it with experience of their knowledge and putting that on there, and that's more than just somebody who's not had that history in baseball.
Yeah, exactly. And so, of course, now that the Astros have been successful over the recent years, they can even talk about the business of going all the way and, well, winning the championship.
Absolutely.
And like I said, Tuttle never actually made it to the major leagues, but he did win the championship at the AAA level.
That's great. That's cool. Anyway, Ed, thanks for chatting with me for this, even though it's a short chat. How can people get hold of you if they want to and find the shows that we both do together?
So When They Was Fab can be found at whentheywasfab.podbean.com. That's the best place. Or
Yeah.
look for our Facebook group. Toppermost of the Poppermost can be found at toppermostofthepoppermost.net. Listen to the shows. You can get our email address, and we're on all the regular socials.
All right. Thank you for speaking with me today, Ed. Pods like us can be found on any streaming platform, and if you go to the marvzone.org, the opening page there has all of the links to the socials and the email. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening, and hope you listen again to another episode of Pods Like Us.